Yo guys, I'm Yellow, a Norwegian hardcore PC gamer and a Norwegian bastard with pretty long hair. Today I figured that we should not talk about how I wear a buff inside, so all my lovely Viking hair can be kept on hold, so that I also don't get hair on my large mousepad, or rather that the weather outside is cold, and it's now raining, so there's no sunlight in here either. Instead, I figured that we should go into day 2 of the Pick'em challenge. This right here is gonna be crazy, because I'll go through my rationale for my picks. These are my picks, however, and these are the stats for day 1. It was a pretty fun little thing right here, and especially with the ending of Virtus Pro just smashing G2, which was pretty uncalled for. But that aside, yeah, let's get into the breakdown right here, in which I will just put out a disclaimer. Your boy Yellow don't care super much about like 50-50 bets, which is why I'm gonna just go with the best rationale I can find right off the bat. I prefer to go after recent performance rather than long time performance, and then again, I don't remember too much about map picks and such, but then again, we also got the annoying randomizer, so what can I really do there? Point though is that regardless of all of those results, I find this to be fun, and I preferably would just like 15 to 15 battles time and time again. I enjoy overtime because it gets so fucking insane, you know? Every single mistake is amplified, and every good play is amplified, so I just find that to be very, very fun and entertaining. But that aside, let's go through from the top to bottom. I chose Mousesports versus Flipside to win because Mousesports had to face Luminosity. Luminosity is tactical and strong, rather relatable to Mousesports, thus meaning that with this matchup being so close but Luminosity coming up on top, it's looking good for Mousesports. Then again, map time and place can't obviously alter anything like with any of these matchups, but it's looking more dependable and in favor of Mousesports. And that is also because of how Flipside, they had to face Nip, and Nip have not been hot for quite some time right now. I had to bite the bullet in the previous Pick'em challenge, I do believe, because I just went with Nip for fun. I did the same, not this time for fun, because it looked like Flipside wasn't too dependable. Now, it went into overtime, but Nip was able to close it out despite it going into overtime. But point in case, though, is that regardless of that result, it just looks like it's gonna be a little bit more dependable in terms of this skill level that was displayed in this match versus this one, but also the you know, what has happened in the past because of said teams and, you know, their performance, obviously. Anyways, that aside, that is why I'm gonna go with this one. It feels pretty 60 to 40% though. I just want to mention that too. FaZe Clan versus Splice. Splice have the world to prove, and they have not shown too much of it. Everything from when you watch the relatable people stream to their general performance, to the performance against Fnatic. Keep that in mind. I mean, it could have been a lot worse, obviously, but 16-5 on Train, that's not the best score. We could have seen better, we could have seen worse, but I don't think that they will be able to be prepared for the insanity that will be former G2 team, which now is FaZe Clan. So, yeah, good luck for your boys, okay? But then again, yeah, it looks pretty solid for FaZe Clan, but I'll be happy to be wrong, you know? Envious versus Gambit. It's gonna be the same story, but Envious could lose this one. It feels like it's like 30 to 70%. It could go either way, so it could be like, I don't know, 60-40. But what I'm getting at here is that Envious, they were not playing good on the day 1, and they are supposed to play good, and they have played good in the past. So them suddenly not playing good right now, that's a warning sign. So they better wake up. If they don't, they can get annihilated by your boy Dosha, Sex God. I don't think that will happen though, but I would be happy if that would happen. Anyways, moving on then to G2, current G2, which used to be Titan, swapping orgs, you know, versus Cloud9. Cloud9 had to face Na'Vi. Navi's pretty strong. They've been strong for a very long time, and they're currently really strong once again. So Cloud9 being able to get 9 rounds against Na'Vi in this little lovely matchup. Wasn't it Train? I do believe it was, yeah. Way too much Train on day 1, I gotta say. Oops, I misclicked there. It's looking really good for your boys Cloud9 versus G2. And keep in mind, that is not because G2 got smashed against Virtus Pro. They only got 1 round. It's more about the matter of fact that Cloud9 has shown themselves to be a little bit more dependable. They have so much pressure on them as well, by the way. And put that on top of Virtus Pro having been in a slump, but then getting back to their main map and then smashing G2. I think there's a little bit more of the caveat of them being able to play and just perform to an extravagant display versus what they normally do, because, you know, it was on their home map as far as I can tell, as far as I can remember as well. I could be wrong though, but the point though is that it's looking good for Cloud9, but this one feels honestly 50-50, so take whatever you feel like. Now, I was gonna say C9. Nip versus Luminosity. This one looks pretty good because of how Luminosity, it looks good for them because, you know, they're just way too tactical, dependable, and it has not derived away from that for quite some time. In the startup period, either they got annihilated and shit-faced, or they played really close up and good. This one right here, it's looking like Luminosity will play semi-dominant over Nip, but I could be wrong, but I'm going to assume that will happen because of how dependable Luminosity is, so that's why I'll go with them. Fnatic versus Liquid, it's pretty much the same story, but Luminosity is getting into shape as of late, and it's very cool to see. So, crossing our fingers, but Fnatic is just way too dependable, so we'll see, I guess. Astralis versus CLG, it pretty much looks like the same, but it could be like one level beneath Fnatic, I'm gonna assume. But then again, we'll see, but I'm gonna part with Astralis here. Looking pretty hot and dependable as they normally do. Now, as for Na'Vi versus Virtus Pro, I'm gonna go with Na'Vi because they're just way too dependable. It will probably not be Train again, too, by the way. I mean, if we get a ton of Train on day 1, by probability, why would we see a ton of trains on day 2? I mean, it's obviously going to be a tough fight if Virtus Pro get their favorite map, but that can't happen every single day or time. So I'm just going to go with Na'Vi here because if they'll probably be able to deal with Virtus Pro as well. I mean, it's not the first time these teams have played, and on top of that, Na'Vi has not been in the sub as of late, so it's just looking good for Na'Vi, essentially. And that pretty much concludes this long-winded video of me breaking down these kind of things. I could be wrong, I would be happy to be wrong, and I'm not taking these picks super seriously, so keep that in mind, people. If you want to cross-check things, do a little bit of research on maybe HLTV or like the subreddit or something, and you'll probably be able to find relatable answers for either pick, any direction, really. So there's that. Thanks for watching, thanks for the support, people. There will be a crazy, insane announcement announced not too long distant into the future, so stay tuned for that. It's gonna be insanity. Also, thanks for 50k subscribers. I'll make an official video related to that as well. So yeah, once again, thanks for watching, thanks for the insane support from you awesome, just crazy, incredible people. Have a nice day, and don't be beastified when you play.